Okay, so if we go back to this beginning, we got some t, but we don't have a definition for what does t represent. Number of hours. So then we have n of t. What does n of t represent? Number of pies. Okay, so then we went on and we did this p of n, right? What was that? Profit based on what? So n was our number of pies. Okay. Here we did n of 5, right? And then we did our profit. Wasn't this the profit of n of 5? So we took a function, we got the answer, we plugged it into another function. That's what we're doing today, composition of functions. We take a function and we stick it inside of another. So then this P of t, well, there really isn't a P of t, right? The profit, isn't that based on the number of pies? So therefore, we actually needed to write this as the profit based upon the number of pies with regard to time instead of P of t. Because to get the number of pies, we had to plug it into that equation first. And that was our 8t, correct? And then, of course, we have the last one where we could solve it out. By the way, that ends up being 4 hours. So let's look at this. We're talking about composition of functions. Sounds real complicated, but all you're doing is taking one and sticking it inside of the other. So say we're given some function called f and a function called g. We can compose a new function by inputting one into the other. For example, we could put g inside of our f function. We would read that f of g of x. This could also be written f of g of x. This is the one that tends to be a little confusing, but all you have to do is which one's on the inside, g, which one's on the inside, g. So in both cases, g is your any that you're going to plug into. So we would put g into f. So let's do an example. Say we have 2x plus x. Oops, hold on. Say we have f of x equals 2x plus x. I know we could combine those, but I don't really want to because I want you to see kind of how it works. So then we do g of x, and g of x is going to be 3x plus 4. And then I ask you to do f of g of x, which is the exact same thing as f of g of x. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our outie, but we're not going to include the x's. We're going to put parentheses everywhere there's an x. So we're going to do 2 parentheses plus parentheses. Now, I encourage you to do it this way because this is how you're going to have the least chance of making a mistake. A lot of you want to just fill it in as you go. Mistakes happen then. So now I'm going to stick my any in, my 3x plus 4. And then after that, all I have to do is simplify. So I get 6x plus 8 plus 3x plus 4, which gives us 9x plus 12. Do you see the way I've written it? Notice how I don't have anything over here. It's this equals this, which equals that, which equals that, which equals that. That's how it should be written as we work through these, okay? So now let's look at a couple. In this case, they're asking us to prove inverses. That's one of our uses of composition. To prove an inverse, if we plug one inside of the other and we simplify and we get to an answer that is just the parentheses, what's in the parentheses, then they're inverses. So if I'm going to do this one, V is my outie, correct? So we're going to write our outie, but remember, we're not going to write the X. We're going to put parentheses. Put a big enough space that you can fit that other function in there. So now we have W is the any. So I'm going to plug it inside. And then after that, all I have to do is simplify. So if I multiply 1/4 times 4, so I get X 1/4 times 1. And we end up with X. Is this what's in our original parentheses right here? Then it appears they're inverses. However, if you're going to prove they're inverses, you have to do it both ways. So you'll notice B is done the other way. B has got W of V of X. So now W is my outie. So I'm going to write 4 parentheses plus 1. And now I'm going to put V on the inside this time. So I got 1/4 X minus 1/4. Then we just go to simplify. What's 4 times 1/4? And then 4 times negative 1/4. And we end up with X. So yes, they are inverses. If they're not inverses, you'll find they'll simplify, but they won't simplify to whatever was in the parentheses. Do you remember how we had the parent line was the symmetry? So we're getting to what? Y equals X? The parent line is the symmetry. Pretty cool, huh? How many X's were up there? I do parentheses for every X. So when you look at that one above, it was 2X plus X. So I had 2 parentheses. So for every X, you'll put a parenthesis. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to do V. So V is my outie. So I got 2 parentheses minus 6. W is my any. So we're going to do 1/2 X plus 3. And then simplify it. What's 2 times 1/2? What's 2 times 3? And we get, so do we think they're inverses? Are we done though? Have to do it both ways. This is a common mistake. My students will do this part, and you know what they don't do? They don't define it. If you don't tell me what it is you're doing, how am I to know what you're doing? You have to do this step as well. So for example, in this next one, we have W of V of X. You have to write that. So W is my outie this time. So I got 1/2 parentheses plus 3. So what are we going to stick inside? And then when we go to simplify it, we're going to get 1/2 of 2, 1/2 of 6. Other thing you'll do is you'll skip the steps. You already know what the answer is. If they're inverses, you know it's an X, right? If you don't show this in between step, you didn't prove it. And that's what you're doing. You're proving they're inverses. So yes, they're inverses. I think this is, we okay with that? Okie doke. So now let's look at what we have today.